All right, boycott. That's a big headline on the front page of the Standard today, and it has to do with the judiciary. And a picture there of the Chief Justice Martha Koome, who's under siege currently. And they say Julius Caesar divorced his wife, Pompey, not because her adultery had been proved, but because even the slightest suspicion was intolerable. Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. That has since become the benchmark for those entrusted with public office. Judges are no exception. Their authority rests not only on the law, but also on the confidence the public places in their integrity. That is why the battle over Chief Justice Martha Koome, 4 Supreme Court judges, and 6 other judicial officers has become so explosive. Accused by lawyers of using court orders to shield themselves from scrutiny, the judges have chosen to fight for their positions in court. Now, in doing so, they risk appearing no different from common charlatans and chicken thieves, clutching at every legal lifeline to avoid accountability, thereby eroding public confidence on which the judiciary ultimately depends. This is a big story today because the entire law society of Kenya is boycotting the courts. The story is on page 4. Wanasema lawyers boycott judges as fresh bid to remove Koome deepens troubles. So quite a number of judges, 14 of them. President Charles Kanjama of the LSK has named 14 judges and judicial officers whose courts advocates have been directed to boycott indefinitely. Kuna wale wata boycott leo peke yake, but kuna wale amesema huyu judge mukimwona pale, do not appear before them. Now the problem is, what happens to those who have cases and have had this, and the cases are before these judges? As a common Kenyan, wewe ndio utaumia zaidi.
Yes.
Because your lawyer cannot appear before that
files
judge.
Inafungwa unangoja.
Anyway, the move piles pressure on the Chief Justice and the Supreme Court. The other story there, and this is a story we've been following last moment, court views CCTV of Ojwang's killing. Albert Ojwang walked into Nairobi Central Police Station alive, but hours later left it lifeless. Now, chilling CCTV footage presented in court reconstructs his final hours, minute by minute. That's a special report on page 6 of this paper. The story about the president talking about goons, tough talk, no action. President's orders on political goons yield little. He talked yesterday, finally, for the first time. That story is on page 2 of this paper. Another interesting story that we'll be looking at is on page 5. Excitement sweeps the western region ahead of Sifuna tour. Sifuna amerudi. Na sasa kuna ile homecoming. Anaenda Ingo. So everyone anaingia tu.
Hajawahi enda Ingo?
No, now a proper homecoming. Unajua kuna ile unaendanga tu ukirudi, unaenda ukirudi. So amesema now we would need a proper. Si mnasema hajatoka western, na anaenda western. All right, so those are the big stories on this paper today. There's another very interesting one that I'm yet to fully understand. The president has promised full university funding amid budget shortfalls. Remember, the government has not been giving universities the amount they need. But then now the president says they'll fund universities fully. So how is it going to work?
Including accommodation.
How is it going to work?
Kama ilikataa na CBC. You know, when he gave the same directive for principals to admit kids as they are, hata kama hana nguo wewe admit to. That's the same thing now he's saying about universities. And
the government already owes universities a lot of money, about 144 billion shillings or something thereabout. But then the president comes and says we are going to fund university education fully. Swali ni how? Okay, anyway.
We'll wait and see.
Just wait and see. On the back page, they're still talking about the World Cup. Argentinian midfielder Leandro Paredes clashing with Spain midfielder Gavi during the 2026 World Cup final at the New York. So they're asking, this paper is asking Argentina, arrogance or pride? May just feel it was pain. You know, this happened immediately after they lost. And while Spain was celebrating, some players from the Argentinian side were not so happy. And they got rough with them. So at arrogance or pride, nah, it's pain. Spain, but the Argentina were feeling it was pain. You get it?
I get it.
If you don't get it,
forget about it.
Forget about it. That's the Standard today.
Sawa sawa. Tuangalie Taifa Leo. Paradiso ya wahuni. Katika miaka ya hivi karibuni, makundi ya vijana wenye silaha yamekuwa yakihusishwa na uvamizi wa hospitali, kufurusha familia kutoka nyumba zao, kutoa majengo ya biashara na kuzuia utekelezaji wa amri halali za mahakama, huku serikali ikifumbia macho uhuni huo. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa pili. Wanasema magenge ya vijana yageuzwa jeshi la kutekeleza amri za kihalifu, serikali ikisisitiza hali ya usalama ni shwari. Yes. Sasa, these photos here, there's one that says ni kilio kwa Dina Watora baada ya nyumba yake kubomolewa eneo la Kambi Nyasi kule Eldoret. Makazi yake yalibomolewa na wahuni wanaodaiwa kutumwa na viongozi wa kanisa ambao wanadai umiliki wa sehemu ya ardhi hiyo. Mhuni abeba jiwe kwenye barabara ya Moi Avenue Nairobi wakati wa maandamano yaliyozuka kufuatia kifo cha mwanablogu wa Kenya Albert Ojwang aliyefariki akiwa mikononi mwa polisi. Na vile picha hii hapa chini, waumini watawanyika baada ya wahuni kuvamia kanisa la Witima ACK Othaya Nyeri Januari tarehe 25. Paradiso ya wahuni. That's the main story on the front page of Taifa Leo. Najua IG Kanja akisema the state of security in this country is good. Tuko sawa kabisa in terms of security. Nothing to be worried about.
Tuko sawa. Probably the goons are the ones to protect us.
Yeah.
Tuko sawa. Yeah.
Vidokezo zaidi. Magavana wateua warithi wao mwaka 2027. Baadhi ya magavana wanaokamilisha mihula yao miwili wameanza kuandaa warithi kwa maslahi ya kibinafsi. Habari njema ya Rais Ruto kwa wanavyuo. Wanafunzi watakaofuzu kujiunga na vyuo vikuu nchini kupata ufadhili kamili wa masomo, ni habari katika ukurasa wa 3. Kule juu zaidi, ya Bautani ya Gachagua ya koroga DCP, wanaosaka tikiti ya chama wahofia huenda walio waaminifu pekee wakanufaika. Habari hiyo katika ukurasa wa 4. Unaona venye wanasumbua kule Senate.
Jana walikuwa wamevaa ungedhani wameenda sherehe ya harusi.
Makaribisho ya kishijau Hispania ni mambo ya World Cup. Taifa Leo.
Ningedhania tungekuwa na picha moja ya wale maseneta walivalia hiyo ni rangi ya
majani.
Kijani ama majani?
Both. Majani kijani.
Sio matawi. Tuangazie gazeti la The Daily Nation. Daily Nation today has a very different story on the front page. Now looks like a Tanzanian paper because of this story.
Yeah.
Poison love gang on the run. So police believe there's a gang of 3 that could be behind more drink lacing cases. Wale watu wenye wanajua mambo ya mchele, sio mpunga, mchele. In 5 days, 2 men were drugged as they sipped their favorite drinks in bars 28 kilometers apart within the Nairobi metropolitan area and robbed of 800,000 shillings. Edgar Mokua is a 53-year-old quantity surveyor. He was found dead hours after leaving a club accompanied by a woman. As an investigation into his mystery death got underway, another man reported losing cash after a night out with a woman. At least he survived. The face captured on CCTV was familiar to detectives. So they have a picture here of the suspect, a screen grab of CCTV footage showing a woman who left a bar in Lavington in the company of Edgar Mokua on July 7th. Police believe that she and her 2 accomplices steal from unsuspecting patrons. Now the victim, Edgar Mokua, is there. He's a father of 2. He spent time in a bar with this woman that police believe spiked his drink. Mokua's body was later found in Roysambu the following day, hours after he had sent 300,000 shillings to the mystery woman who is now being sought by police. This is worrying, you know. And, you know, many people talk about it like a joke. Utaekewa mchele. People are dying. It's not just about losing money. They're dying. They're losing their lives. So you can read more on that story on page 4, and it could help you and keep you safe. On page 2, rather, of this Daily Nation. Another story, goons take over evictions and auctions. Now what's happening is that away from politics, auctioneers are using goons as well. And if a landlord is unhappy with you, they come to evict you using goons. Yeah. So goons are everywhere. It's a goons paradise. Tunasema paradiso ya wahuni kwenye gazeti la Taifa Leo. So armed guns have become a familiar feature during evictions, property repossessions, and commercial disputes. Landlords deploy goons to throw out tenants. Traders turn to militia to settle scores with rivals, while auctioneers hire violent guns to seize property. Pale chini story ni ile ya universities, Ruto's U-turn on university funding model. it's a major U-turn, but everyone is asking, okay, how are you going to do it?
Yeah.
If at all so far you've not even been able to disburse what's meant for universities. Yeah? Universities are in debt.
Yeah.
The funding model was a problem. Now the president comes and says, talipia kila mtu sasa.
And it's this year that the lecturers were on strike? Or was it late last year?
I think it was late last year,
Yeah.
So how will you pay? Where are we getting the money from? Have we even talked about it in the budget? Yeah? All right. Why teachers are unhappy with 8 billion pay increase. We looked at this yesterday. Na walikuwa wanapata shilingi 700, 800.
Imagine.
Hapo ndo walikuwa wameongezewa. Oh, I love this one. Dancing with the Devil. Former UON Vice Chancellor Kiama finally pens his autobiography. Professor Stephen Kiama Gitahi spent decades mastering the complexities of biological systems. He was ousted as a VC for Nairobi University, and now he's written his autobiography, which will be launched later this week. That's interesting. Huku ndani najaribu kutafuta. Stories are the same. Ile Ojwang CCTV footage in court, and yeah, I think that's it. On the back page, still World Cup fever. Madrid explodes as exhilarated fans celebrate a World Cup crown. They made it back home. And Spain beat defending champions Argentina. Wale wanaulizwa kama ni ego ama ni arrogance, but it was Spain. It was Spain. Yani, it was pain. Walisikia uchungu. But it was still Spain that beat them. So jubilation there in Madrid. Alafu wameka ile picha ya Messi akilia hapo kando. Wound will take time to heal, says crushed Messi. It will definitely take time. That's a Daily Nation. All right,
let's take a look at the Star now. I actually think that Albert Ojwang's story should be given much more attention. Because remember the statement from Mushu Inyaga when that ordeal occurred, when Albert Ojwang died.
The initial
statement, yeah, where they say that, you know, Albert Ojwang died from hitting his wall, his head on the cell wall. And right now we see what the CCTV is. Anyway, that is still in court. Well, be keeping an eye on that. The Star, Bigwigs jump to Sifuna's camp as Western readies for homecoming. That story is on page 4 and 5. Weta's brother team, Wangamati, Wamunyeni, before lead camp. Interesting. That is a story on page 4 and 5. Ruto announces full state funding for varsity and college students. That is another story given prominence on page 7. There's a photo here. They say President William Ruto receives the report on reflections and proposals on strategic guidelines for Kenya's long-term national transformation beyond Vision 2030 from Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o at State House, Nairobi yesterday. Looking on is the team that prepared the report. We have Dennis Onyango there, George Okongo, Professor Karuti Kanyiga, Professor Michael Shege, and Professor Peter Wanyande. This was yesterday when he made the pronouncement to fully fund varsity students. Why unease is growing in Mount Kenya East. That's another story in page 6. Yes, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki was in Embu yesterday. On the top strip, Treasury report, Kenya raises 416 billion shillings fresh debt in just 4 months. 416 billion shillings in just 4 months. The financial year just began this month. Yeah, na tunasema in 4 months, hiyo ni plus here, I think it's plus July. That's the new financial year. 416 billion shillings in debt. The economy is doing wonderfully. That's the Star, fresh, independent, different.
From the Star, let's take a look at the People Daily. And the People Daily has just been doing analysis on politics, what has happened, what it means. Now, their latest analysis today is that the race for Kindiki seats is building up following the UDA loss in Olkalau. That's the main headline. And if you look at the front page, they have pictures of some of those people who are angling for the position of running mate for William Ruto come 2027. One of them is CS Ali Hassan Joho. There's a Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. There's a Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula. Of course, ODM party leader, Dr. Oburu Oginga, and the current governor of Kirinyaga County. The only lady on that list so far. I tried introducing this debate yesterday with my panelists. They said, no, nothing will happen. Oh, Kindiki is safe. Oh, Kindiki will still be there. Everyone is seeing it, that the biggest casualty of that Olkalau by-election probably could be Kithure Kindiki. His position as deputy president until 2027 could be guaranteed, probably, but him being the running mate for President William Ruto in next year's election, hapo itakuwa ngumu kidogo.
Infotrack inasema ako safe.
Ako safe?
Yeah, he remember he's the most preferred candidate to deputize President William Ruto from Infotrack last week.
Until Olkalao happens. Now everyone is saying, okay, fine, if he did not deliver Olkalao, what will he deliver for you? Yeah?
Oh yeah.
So, mbona wasema woye?
Oh yeah.
It's politics. Hakuna woye. So that story is covered extensively on page 3. You can read more about that. Smaller political parties rise ahead of Kenya's 2027 elections. You know, we have over 90 political parties. Zingine hazina ofisi, zingine ni briefcase. But you know, parties are required to have offices in at least 24 counties.
Every party? So ODM lazima kuwe na ofisi in 24 counties?
Yes. That's why they have, if you go everywhere, unapata there's an ODM office. Hata kama ni ndogo aje, they have to have something. But some of these parties don't have anything. I don't even know how they work. Yeah. All right. And apology, the hidden legal trap that's leaving political rejects out in the cold is another story inside the People Daily today. It looks like a very interesting, I like the colors they've used on the front page of the People Daily today. So, people and politics, People Daily.
Business Daily, Citibank seeks to block DCI probe of Kenya's CEO. Investigators seek details of 261 million shillings loan deal, and US Bank gets the interim court order halting MD's grilling. This is Citibank NA, Kenya CEO Martin Mugambi. And that story is on page 2. Muguku's in talks to sell 9 billion shillings waterfront Karen Mall. Yes. The family of the late billionaire poultry farmer Nelson Muguku is selling the waterfront Karen Mall in Nairobi in a multi-billion shilling deal, marking a pivot from real estate. Yes, now source familiar with the deal records that the family is at the tail end of talks to sell the high-end mall in a transaction that could go as high as 9 billion shillings. That is a story on page 2. So, nini kama watu wa waterfront Karen Mall, if you like visiting that area, but I don't think it will affect anything.
I don't think it will be. It will affect someone like you who might be interested in buying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've been informed. You can go buy a stick.
That's the Business Daily.
Right, let's go to Uganda. And I know this is a quick one because it's come very late. We only have the new vision, and they're still mourning General Moses Ali, who passed on earlier this week. That's fine. We'll salute a picture of President Yoweri Museveni there on the front page paying his last respects to this general. So that is what they're talking about in Uganda so far. In Tanzania, meanwhile, and we take a look at Gazeti La Citizen. Green gold, harvesting wealth, creating jobs. They are talking about avocados in Tanzania. You know, people wonder why I don't eat avocados. But
you don't eat avocado?
I don't find them interesting at all.
No.
So once seen as a subsistence crop, avocados are now powering jobs, attracting billions in investment and transforming the lives of young entrepreneurs across Tanzania's southern highlands. Yes, it's a big deal, I know. But to be honest, avocados, even in Kenya, are not being produced for consumption locally. Ideally, avocados are to make hair products. Yeah.
Avocado slander will not be tolerated.
So, no, it's true. You find out. Avocados are mainly the base for hair products for women.
So that is why you're not eating avocado, because it's
part of the reason why.
Koma kabisa, ninakuona.
So even kama Tanzania wanaziuza, wanajua tu ni kwa nini wanaziuza.
So we export a lot of avocado?
Yes, to go to other places to produce hair products. Yes. So that is, and they have an interesting story about social media. They're asking, is social media rewriting your child's values? These are the hidden risks of social media. That's a Citizen. Take a look at Mwananchi. Mshahara unatosha? Ni swali wanauliza pale. Fanya haya, utatoboa. So they give you what you need to do. Asema, kupanda kwa gharama za maisha kunalazimisha kufanya mambo kadhaa ili kuepuka matumizi yasiyopangwa na misukosuko mingine ya kifedha ili mshahara wa mtu uweze. Sinajua, was it yesterday or Monday? You were already talking about the salary.
It was yesterday. Lakini civil servants wanapata salary this week.
It was only 20th or 21st of the
Yesterday was 21st, today is 22nd.
Meaning that enough people washaanza kuangalia. Someone else ameniambia tu, tuko karibu mwisho wa mwezi, salary iko karibu.
Leo?
Saa hii asubuhi. So,
inamaanisha the economy
kuna shida pale. Kutokana na habari hiyo, kwingineko kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili la Mwananchi wanasema mawakili wa Lissu waibua mapya. Tundu Lissu bado yuko kotini. Ukiona picha yake ya jana akiwa kotini, ameanza kumea inaitwaje rasta. If we can zoom on to that photo, ile nice clean haircut he had has been abandoned. Now he has a different hairstyle. Yes. Amekaa kotini, amekaa korokoroni kwa muda sasa. Tundu Lissu. Ndio picha yake. You see now it doesn't look like he did sometime last year. Kizza Besigye pia kule Uganda is still behind bars. I've not seen him. He had health issues, but he may have maintained his hairstyle. All right, so those are the regional and local dailies. Let's come back home and take a look at the cartoons today.